Bear with me here, folks. Getting everything set up. Shouldn't be but another moment before we are good to go. I hope that everybody is having a lovely morning. If you're not, I hope you sort that shit out ASAP. Okay. There we go. Let's get rid of the room ID. Okay, so we're in business here. Let me alert the presses. Gosh, my internet this morning. Absolutely. Slowest internet you can imagine today. Okay. So here's the situation, folks. We've got the Donkey Kong Direct happening here shortly. Um, really excited to see what all is involved with this. Obviously, Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong's a game that has had no shortage of kind of uh, historic entries in the franchise, right? But for a long time now, it's been, I think, largely neglected, right? A lot of the most recent entries haven't been, necessarily stellar or widely regarded as good. Sort of an afterthought as a franchise, but obviously in recent years with the Mario movie, with the Mario theme park, and the Nintendo theme park rather, they are making a move to sort of put Donkey Kong more center stage than it has been. And so, how that manifests in terms of actual gameplay, completely unclear, right? And whether the game is good, completely unclear. It seems promising based on what we've seen so far, But of course, it's always possible that that will not be the case. And so we'll have to see what happens here. I'm feeling pretty optimistic about the chances that it's decent, but it's just going to be a matter of seeing what they do. I think one of the big sort of points of speculation, one of the big rumors, is that this is a game that's made by the same team that made Mario Odyssey, and that they're giving it a similar treatment, which obviously would be huge for the franchise. That would be sort of the most involved that they've ever had. Here we go.
When the world felt so cruel and bleak.
Okay, we're doing.
When the whole looked so dark and deep. Hard as rock, cold as stone. I was scared, alone. Then your beat showed the way to you.
Oh, right out the bat. Okay, so Pauline confirmed.
The discovery of the century, made right here on Ingot Isle. This is excellent news for #1 banana fan, Donkey Kong. However, just as he's about to enjoy the notable bananas, a sudden tempest sends him deep down underground.
All right, so instantly Pauline confirmed.
DK teams up with Odd Rock, but it's no rock at all. It's actually a talented young singer named Pauline. Now, Donkey Kong just wants bananas. And Pauline wants to find a way back home to the surface. It's said that one's wish will be granted by reaching the planet core. So the unlikely duo set off on a strange subterranean adventure. The story takes place in the underground world, where the scenery changes the deeper you go. Some layers are so spectacular that it's hard to believe you're underground. DK can run, jump, and climb through each environment. Using his incredible physical prowess, you can freely move in any direction. But that's not all. Almost anything in your path, you can smash, crash, and bash. You can even do this to a massive rock formation. You know, if you want. As you barrel through obstacles in your path, you'll also collect golden bananas known as Banandium gems. More on those later. Let's take a look at some of the things this Kong can do. Punch. Smash enemies. Walls. The ground. And most things you can get your hands on with incredible force. Destruction can lead to discoveries, so set off a chain reaction and see what happens. Dive punch. Unleash a powerful punch directly downward. How deep you punch into the ground depends on the strength of the terrain. Roll forward. Roll at high speed and send lighter objects soaring. Combine this with punches and jumps to really mix things up. Hand slap. Make some noise to collect scattered items. Or detect hidden objects using sonar.
Yeah, it definitely has some Minecraft vibes, teenage gamer.
Tear off. Grab a chunk of terrain and tear it off. Or tear up turnips to find items. And even tear chunks off your foes. Swing. Grab a chunk and swing it to attack.
One more.
chunks can be used to break stone with ease. Or smash spiky thorns. Chunk jump. Use a chunk to double jump. This will help you reach new heights. Throw. Throw a chunk.
Okay, I feel like we understand. I feel like we understand you can do a lot with the rocks.
Throwing a boom rock or gold can have explosive
I feel like we
effects.
get it.
If you throw chunks made of softer material, you can stick them to a surface and pile them up.
Oh, that's fun.
Turf serve. This lets you ride on chunks. Speed up and aim for smaller enemies to knock them away. Make music. The power of Pauline's singing will help show you the way. It can also remove these strange seals that someone left behind. You never know what you'll discover in the underground world. So carve your own path with DK's abilities.
Okay, but just give us some clue to the plot
The
here.
many layers of the underground world are host to a variety of inhabitants. Some are mysterious and aren't too bothered by DK's destructive tendencies. It looks like Cranky Kong and his companion
Oh, Cranky
Rambi
Kong
are also
confirmed.
venturing through the
Rambi
layers of the world.
confirmed. Huge.
Then there are the Giant Elders, who call the underground world home. They're said to possess ancient Bananza powers. By learning their Bananza powers, Pauline's singing can do something special.
Oh, wow.
She can make Donkey Kong transform. With incredible
The fucking air horn?
Even hard terrain poses
Unreal.
no problem.
Oh, wow, okay, so we have like
Smash
a
as much as
an
possible
ult.
with the powerful Kong Bananza. Plus, DK can transform into a zebra. He's
I'm-
as speedy as
I'm
he is
sorry?
striped. He can even breathe
He can do
over
what?
water or crumbling pathways. That's the swift Zebra Bananza.
Okay.
Oh yeah, he can also turn into an ostrich. A flying ostrich. Spread your wings and soar through the sky.
Oh, my. Oh, my.
You can use updrafts to gain more air. Then drop egg bombs from great heights.
The
to
boy
send
can do it all.
enemies Scattering. That's right, it's Ostrich Bananza.
That's right.
Bananza transformations don't last forever though.
That's right. It's Ostrich Bananza.
Transform again by collecting gold.
Yeah, that's
to build
interesting.
up your Bananargy. You're not limited to when or where you transform, and you can swap between transformations. So get creative and use them as you adventure to the planet core. Standing in our hero's way is the Void Company, the mightiest mining operation both above ground and below. Grumpy Kong works to create gigantic corporate soldiers. Poppy Kong is responsible for subterranean info gathering, while Void Kong is in charge of the whole company.
Interesting.
This nefarious crew
Little
is
anti-corporate take for you.
responsible for banana-stealing maelstrom on Ingot Isle, and they're heading straight down to the planet core.
Planet core? But no! I'm going with DK, so you just stay away!
Voidco blocked off all the routes to the lower layers, so no one could reach them. DK and his pals will come face to face with the enemies guarding these routes. So use all the power at your disposal to take on a host of powerful foes. By defeating them, giant sinkholes will open, clearing a path to the lower layers of the underground world. Found throughout the underground world are golden bananas called Banandium gems.
Banandium.
They're not always visible though. Sometimes they're buried in the walls, the ground, and other places. There are a whole bunch to find.
Song is a certified hood classic.
You can also obtain these gems by completing challenges in the ruins found throughout your adventure.
Let's do this!
Challenges include time-limited battles, courses where you'll need clever solutions,
Oh, that's fun.
side-scrolling stages, and more.
Oh, nice. We got the minecarts back. And a little Donkey Kong Country vibes from
Keep
these.
your eyes peeled to find the Banandium gems. There are plenty of ruins to discover, so give them a try.
Oh, that's so fun. They were on the skyscraper. Oh, how good. I love that they're actually going to be up there.
As you collect Banandium gems, you'll gain skill points. These can be used to increase stats such as your max health.
Oh,
or
skill tree?
The power of your punches. Power up Donkey Kong to match your playstyle.
Donkey
For example,
Kong skill
if you
tree.
strengthen your sonar, you'll be able to detect treasure from further away, which could lead to new discoveries.
Oh, that's neat.
Or use skill points to learn new skills. There are all sorts of items to find as you explore. Banandium chips are shaped like slices of banana. And they can be traded for Banandium gems at the chip exchange. These gold nuggets are, unsurprisingly, called gold. You can exchange gold for useful items at the stuff shop. There are fossils too.
Good one!
You can trade these for different fashions at local style shops. Just open the closet and customize the perfect fits for Donkey Kong and Pauline. Or even change up your fur color. No look is too much for Donkey Kong, or too little. Almost every article of clothing comes with its own benefits, so mix and match your look to suit the situation. If you find a treasure chest buried in the ground, crack it open, and you might receive a treasure map showing the location of Banandium gems or fossils. Their locations will be marked on your map. Pretty helpful for finding collectibles.
That is cool.
You
That
can
is
also
cool.
see which fossils and Banandium gems you've collected, making it easy to see how close you are to completion. There's plenty more to do in the underground world when not adventuring. Need a rest? Carve out a space and enjoy a getaway where you can recover in bed.
That's
And
fun.
enjoy listening to tunes with the music player. You might even find new discs when defeating enemies.
Oh,
When
the
it comes to
Donkey Kong
moving
rap.
between layers, subterranean eels have your back. These elevators will help you easily move between layers you visited at any time. And if you get lost, no need to worry. You can always teleport within the layer you're currently exploring.
Huge.
There?
In photo mode, you can freely change the in-game camera angle.
Uh-oh.
and adjust other
X13
settings
is
to snap.
very excited. Oh, photo mode.
Get a photo like this.
And you can add
Or
filters?
that. Unleash your inner shutterbug and create your own captivating scenes.
Wow, I love
By
that.
sharing a Joy-Con 2 controller or using a second set, you and a pal can control Donkey Kong and Pauline.
Oh, yeah, where's
to buddy up
Diddy?
in local co-op play. As Pauline, you can unleash
Free
vocal
Diddy.
blasts using Joy-Con 2 mouse controls. You can also copy the material of nearby terrain to give your vocals even more texture. By working together, even tough enemies don't stand a chance.
All right, everybody. Hashtag free Diddy in chat.
This game also supports Game Share. Even if only one player has the game, they can quickly share it to another player.
Game Share
so they can join
supported.
on their own system. It can also be shared locally to a Nintendo Switch system. Plus, you can play online between Nintendo Switch 2 systems using Game Share via Game Chat.
Oh, wow. So you can do it via Game Chat.
If you need a little help with all the platforming action, Assist Mode is the way to play. It guides you in the right direction.
What, teenage gamer? You're not on board with
The damage you receive
with the
and
free
more.
Diddy movement?
Assist Mode supports you in your adventure to be the best
boy.
Kong you can be. Outside of the main game, there's a mode where you can carve stone using mouse controls called DK Artist.
Oh, okay.
Rotate to paint.
Yeah, this song goes, though. I can't believe they're bringing this bad boy back.
Carve material. Or add some back on. You can even change the lighting and add delectable banana effects.
Oh, that's fun.
Give it a try. And
Oh, look,
to
it's
your heart's
Mario.
content.
It's Bowser. It's a pizza. It's a bird.
This game
Yeah, this is
also
really
supports
interesting.
Amiibo accessories. A new Donkey Kong and Pauline amiibo figure is also on the way.
Oh, is this the first Switch
Scanning
2
it unlocks
amiibo?
Pauline's diva dress. By scanning the Donkey Kong series amiibo
Oh.
shown here, gold Kong tiles with explosive power
The,
will appear.
Super Nintendo World bracelet is an
Every other
amiibo.
amiibo released up to this point is also compatible. If you scan them, you'll get giant spheres like these.
Look at us, DK. I love to sing more than anything.
They have lyrics for the Donkey Kong song now?
Maybe if we get to the surface, you and me, we can make it more than a dream. We're breaking through, down to the core. No stopping us, not any. Get up, DK, inside the storm. I found the key, got me right out.
Join the powerful Donkey Kong and the talented singer Pauline as they set out on an adventure to the fabled planet core.
My own special power? DK!
Donkey Kong Bananza. Available July 17th only on Nintendo Switch 2. Pre-orders are available now on Nintendo eShop. The Donkey Kong and Pauline amiibo will also be available July 17th.
Okay. And so, devastating for X, it does not appear as though we've gotten any... It does not appear as though Diddy Kong has been featured today. And it does not appear that we're getting Diddy Kong in Mario Kart World. So I think that this is a devastating blow for X13. But also, I mean, the results are in from his take. And said that this is literally everything he's ever wanted in a DK game. Let me just message real quick. But that's, listen, I think that's an interesting direct. I don't know that there's a lot in here that I feel like I didn't already anticipate, but let's just go through real quick. And we can kind of reassess and be a little bit more talkative now that we've all seen it for the first time. And it's not as disruptive. So I think right off the bat, it was interesting that they had this rock that they were talking about as being sort of like the partner in crime. Turns out it's Pauline. Now, if you are somebody who's not excessively read in on the Nintendo universe, you may not recognize that Pauline is the princess or the love interest in the original Donkey Kong for the arcade, right? The arcade Donkey Kong. And so The implication of that, of course, is that Donkey Kong was at the top of the skyscraper, essentially holding Pauline hostage. At least that's how it was originally described. And then Mario ran up and saved her. That was the whole purpose of the arcade game. But now it seems like maybe they're changing that because him and Pauline appear to be good pals in Pauline's youth. And so, completely unclear how they're going to tie that all together to be consistent with that. But so Pauline is in this game and is sort of Donkey Kong's sidekick, which I think is really interesting, and seems to suggest a longer term plan to connect the Nintendo universes, or at least to sort of retcon stories in a way that feels like it's a little bit more put together than what we have now. And so it looks like you're teamed up with Pauline. You're trying to get her to the core of the Donkey Kong planet, wherever it is you are, and that this Void company has put a whole bunch of obstacles in your way. Obviously, the mechanics here, it seems like it's very destructible open world vibes. And so, navigating the environment creatively, because you can like you see here, you can just kind of break things apart. That's going to be a huge part of the game. But then also it looks like Pauline has a role in breaking things open as well. Towards the end of the direct, you see that she says things like "yeah" and "go" and whatever, and those words shoot out and break the terrain as well. And so some interesting dynamics. They indicate, they showed 35 different ways you can use the terrain or rocks or something, to the point where it's almost comical, because they're like, you can do this and you can do this, and it's like, okay, I understand that we can use the rocks and stuff. I don't know that we necessarily need the breakdown of every single possible use case for a rock, but you can use them a lot of different ways. And so, I think that's a really interesting part of this, is that it doesn't seem like it's just a collectathon like Donkey Kong 64 was. It seems like there's a little bit more depth here in terms of the ways that you can play this game and sort of the exploration. This bit with the sonar is really interesting to find hidden gems and that sort of thing. Another element that I thought was fascinating was the skill tree. There's I feel like, frankly, unprecedented idea of a Donkey Kong skill tree. And it says that you can, build your character to fit your play style. And so it sounds like there are sort of a lot of different directions you can go with how you want the experience to be. You can sort of essentially curate your own Donkey Kong Bananza experience, and sort of fascinating, the whole thing. And I'd be remiss to not make a comment about it, because I think that was one of the biggest things that I observed. Was the soundtrack sounds great. A lot of certified Donkey Kong classics in the trailer. A lot of fan service in that way. We did hear the Donkey Kong rap at one point, or at least the DK Donkey Kong is here portion of it. And so whether the full rap is there, time will tell, but it seems promising. You can also collect the music and listen to it in your checkpoints, your rest checkpoints. So that's big. And of course, Donkey Kong is a game that is very interwoven with music as part of its brand, and so that's exciting. And so a bunch of really interesting stuff. If I'm missing anything that you found exciting, I know Teenage Gamer was watching. I don't know if X or any of the others are, but if there's something that you were interested in, you should let me know, because I'm curious what people thought. I know based on his Discord messages, X is just generally excited for this game, and as the resident Donkey Kong fan, I take his opinion on this seriously. We did see Cranky Kong and we did see Rambi. I'm trying to remember if we saw any other recurring characters. Noticeably, I know I joked about Diddy Kong, but we haven't seen Diddy Kong. And I think that knowing what we know now about the timeline of this game, the fact that it's a very young Pauline, that's more of a probably Diddy Kong was not born yet than it was anything else. Because I think we're getting a young Donkey Kong here, and we're certainly getting a young Pauline. Pauline looks like a child in this. Um, this part was interesting though. The Bonanza mode was really something. Um, Not only do you have Kong Bonanza, which is just essentially like supercharged Donkey Kong, but then you have some like additional modes in terms of Zebra Bonanza. And so Donkey Kong turns into a large zebra. And so he runs very fast in this mode and can sprint across the water. And then you also get like ostrich Bonanza. And Donkey Kong turns into an ostrich and he can fly and utilize like environmental factors and, um, you know, reach places that I guess you otherwise couldn't reach. Um, I mean, listen, I think it's going to probably be fun to use those, but just in terms of like things I expected this morning, it was Donkey Kong transforms into a zebra and ostrich. We're fairly low on that list. That's not to say it's bad. That's just to say that it's a little weird, which is fine because that's sort of what Nintendo does, right? But that is, I think, most of it. I'm going to keep watching the stream as I'm talking here to see if it triggers any sort of memories of things that I should be talking about. But I feel like those were sort of the big stretches. I think the amiibo thing is not surprising, but I want to say that's the first Switch 2 amiibo. And that's fairly interesting. I don't know enough about the Donkey Kong characters to know whether or not Grumpy Kong or Void Kong or Poppy Kong are people who we should care about. I feel like I don't recognize them as being from existing titles, but I could be wrong. But all the Donkey Kong heads will have to let me know if that's something to be excited about. But it seems like they're just like generic bad guy corporate villains, which is also an interesting take, right? To release a game in 2025 that frames corporations as the bad guys, I feel like is pretty based, as the kids say. And so that's always positive. I do like a game with a good message, and a message about corporations destroying the environment for profit or whatever is always a classic, and so that's positive. The boss fights look interesting. I'll say that from this side of the Nintendo Direct, I think that they're looking pretty much like what you would expect for this game. And I think I'm interested to see how the dynamic of going deeper into the world works, like whether or not there are real sort of meaningful changes between levels. It looks like there are like different environments, but just kind of wondering what that looks like. I also would be curious to know what a sort of 100% looks like on this game. Like, how long is that going to take? And what are the rewards like for that? Like, is there a special secret ending? Really is sort of a interesting idea. Oh, this was fun. Challenge courses. And so this, I think, is like almost like a time trial sort of vibe. An additional mode. And we love to see an additional mode. And it looks like the challenge course ruins might be more like Donkey Kong Country style levels as well, or might feature some Donkey Kong Country style levels. And so that's, exciting. I love this. I love seeing like arcade Donkey Kong vibe levels with the skyscraper and, keeping my fingers crossed that sort of the New Donk City arcade Donkey Kong somehow weaves its way into the plot. I think that would be really cool if this game was like an arcade prequel that sort of contextualized what's happening in the arcade game. Obviously, there's very little plot there. Just that, Donkey Kong is at the top of the skyscraper with Pauline, and Mario's trying to get up there. It would be cool if they could retcon that into like the universe in a meaningful way. but we'll have to see if that's what they're utilizing those levels for, or if it's just fan service. And if it's just fan service, that's okay too, right? But really curious to see how they land that plane, because that's interesting. The Banandian chips and the item shop, not necessarily super surprising. It's very like Mario Odyssey coins item shop situation. It feels very Odyssey because you can change outfits, you can buy power ups, you can buy bananas, gold bananas, and so that feels very on par with that. You can use these fossils, it looks like, to buy the clothing, and you can change your outfit, which it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. What sort of creative looks people get up to. Oh, you can change Donkey Kong's fur. I'll also say, though, that the photo mode, I think, and I don't know when that's going to come up here again, but the photo mode was really interesting. And so Nintendo seems to be implementing photo mode in a lot of games. I can't say for sure whether its intent is to highlight the like the graphics of their games or like the sort of the looks of their games, but I think that they understand the power of sharing on social media, and sort of the desire from people to do so. And so implementing a photo mode like that really gives them, I think, a lot of latitude to, give people the ability to kind of create like that. And that's a good move. I think that any game that has a photo mode, always strong. This is really exciting, to being able to listen to music tracks. I hope they put the soundtrack to this game as well as Mario Kart World on Nintendo Music, because that's the whole purpose of the app, is to host the music. And so they got to do that. That's my hot take. But yeah, so this map thing is interesting. So terrain strength too. Okay, so it looks like terrain strength might be a factor as well. I'd imagine part of the skill tree will be. Let's actually pause that. Let's go back and look at that menu. Let's see what we can glean from. Here we go. Okay, so we've got canyon layer, terrain strength 2. So that looks like it's probably like a pretty mid-tier, early game situation to break that rock open. I would guess as you advance further down, the terrain gets harder, and so you need to be stronger to deal with it. But a pretty crazy level of detail in this mini map. That's really helpful, and also helps kind of provide some scale to where to the size of each world. But you have to wonder, with all of this rock, how much of that you're actually going to be able to fight through, right? How much of that you're actually going to be able to sort of punch through and explore. And if it's all of it, like what do the limits look like for that, right? Like if I woke up in the morning and decided to start punching at the ground floor to try to obliterate the map, could I do it? What would happen? What happens if I just completely clear it out? Things to test. Why is it teleport? Should we teleport there? For a second I was like, is that a typo? But it doesn't appear to be, because they've done it multiple times. Would be funny if it was, though. And so they've got this almost like an eel that swallows you up and helps you transport. It looks like the photo mode lets you change the focus and like the camera and the lens, which is like another level even from Mario Kart World, and so that's exciting. Now this was really interesting. The game share, I think, locally is crazy, but then the game share via game chat also feels wild. Oh, okay, so I see. So the 2-player co-op, it looks like the words that Pauline shouts that cause damage may come from 2-player co-op. And so, I don't know. It's cool because it looks like it utilizes the mouse feature. But if that's really all that Pauline gets to do, I hope Pauline gets off of Donkey Kong and runs around and can do things herself. Because if not, like that's not a very good co-op experience for the second player. It's a little bit like Mario Odyssey. It looks like they can also collect gold or replicate it or something. But it does seem to indicate mouse support in a pretty meaningful way. And yeah. So you can game share via game chat as well, which is interesting because that's like, I feel like that's game shared locally. I'm sorry, did that just happen on a Switch 1? Pardon?
To a Nintendo Switch system.
Fucking pardon me?
So they can join on their own system. It can also be shared locally to a Nintendo Switch system. Plus,
that's unbelievable. Sorry, did you guys see it can be shared locally to a Switch 1? That's nuts. So the game can be played on the Switch 1 with game share. That's like, I hope Nintendo gets its flowers for that because that's kind of crazy. You know what I mean? Like, for it to be sort of backwards compatible in that way is wild. It's like backwards compatible in terms of like, oh, it could play, the Switch 2 can play old games. But making it so that way someone on a Switch 1 can play with game share just feels crazy. I mean, I guess theoretically, could they even... oh, this is an interesting thing. I'm going to pause here. But could you choose to play as Donkey Kong from the Switch 1, right? And then somebody's playing as Pauline from the Switch 2? Because if that's the case, then functionally, you could play this game on the Switch 1 if you just happen to know somebody who has this game for the Switch 2, which is pretty cool. It's not like a meaningful thing. I don't think any critical mass of people are going to beat this game on the Switch 1 in game share, but it's just interesting to think that you could do that. And I wonder if that's something they're going to adapt for a lot of Switch games or Switch 2 games. If you can just share it backwards to the Switch 1, because that opens up, I think, a huge base of people to play these games. And I think serves in and of itself as like a marketing tool, right? Because it's like if you're playing a game and it's a ton of fun, right? And you weren't necessarily sold, you're going to have a better experience doing that like comfortably with your friends than you are, at the store with the demo kiosk. And so really interesting. Teenage Gamer says at least it's $70 and not $80. That's a great point. It is, I think, much more affordable than, Mario Kart World is for a lot of people. And so that I think is a lower barrier to entry. And it sounds like, frankly, it's offering a lot more in terms of immediate value. I think that Nintendo's idea about the value proposition of Mario Kart World was that it was a sort of like long burn situation. And so, you buy Mario Kart World and you're going to play it for 100 years. And so, of course, it's worth $80 because you're going to play this game for, the next decade. Which, when you think about it, if each Mario Kart World lasts 10 years, if we're lucky, we make it to 100. Most people are reaching probably 80 or 90. And so does $80 for a game that's going to last you over 10% of your life, like, does that feel like a good value? Probably. I'm sympathetic to the idea that Mario Kart World is priced high, but also like I certainly got $80 worth of enjoyment out of Mario Kart 8, right? Like I got so much out of that game. I paid I probably got like $120 minimum worth of value out of that. But like we talked about last night a little bit, is it's going to depend on if they release DLC for free, right? If they come out and say, "Hey, listen, we've added maps, we've added characters," and they, start to build sort of a culture of providing a lot of value for that $80 beyond what people even expect, I think that that's how they win in this situation. But it's just going to be a matter of seeing if they do that. But I am happy that this game is $70 because I think that the lower the barrier of entry, the better. I think Mario Kart World can afford to come out and say, "Hey, $80," and people are going to pay it. I don't think Donkey Kong can right now. It's just not that big of a franchise. And so when you come out and you say, "Hey, Donkey Kong is coming back. This is the first 3D Donkey Kong game like this since, I think, Donkey Kong 64. It's like you have to be prepared for people to be skeptical and to understand that there's going to be sort of like a lower bar that people are willing to jump than, one of the most successful franchises of all time, like Mario Kart. And so a long way to say I agree with you. I'm glad it's $70. This was wild. This was just like an interesting little. So this was wild, but also like the thought that I just had seeing this Donkey Kong. Interesting little. So this was wild, but also like the thought that I just had seeing this Donkey Kong was like that people are willing to jump. Then but I was just saying that the 3D Donkey Kong artist thing is just the Nintendo Switch 2 equivalent of the same tech demo that the Nintendo 64 did with the Mario 64 head at the menu. Because it was and I'm realizing that now, and it's so fucking funny because it's like they're demonstrating the mouse capability, and they've got the what's it called, the 3D head, and you can move it any way you want. You can change it, manipulate it, and they've got the game logo in the back. Like they're very loaded.
100% the first thing that came to mind when I saw that. I was like, "This is the Super Mario 64 screen."
Yeah, that's so fun. That's
it.
Go ahead.
I was just that's exactly why they did the Mario head, to be like, this is the Mario head from N64 screen.
Yeah, I love this. I'm glad that I noticed that, because at fucking 6:00 in the morning, it took me a second, but that's exciting. So, what do you think, X?
Oh, no play. No, I'm joking. Like, it has a single thing that as a Donkey Kong fan of Donkey Kong Country, and a semi-fan of Donkey Kong 64. I never really played that much Donkey Kong 64. I watched someone play most of it, but I've always been intrigued by it. I don't want to go back, but I heard people are like, "Oh, it's just collecting shit." But I was always like, an open world Donkey Kong, that's cool. And this has like everything I've ever wanted from a Donkey Kong game in one. It's got the open world aspect. It's got the 2D side scrolling stuff, which is huge and incredible. It's got all of the best music from the.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't play a lot of Odyssey.
But
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't play a lot of Odyssey.
But wow.
I know. Fake fan.
I'm pretty sure there was. Looks incredible. It's
difficulties. Please hold. Difficulties. Please hold. Oh, actually, it looks like we're back. Anyway, sorry, I don't know what's going on with my internet this morning. It's gone to shit. But so you were talking about the music and that being cool.
Yeah, so I mean, bringing back all the music is huge. It's I feel like they 100% get Donkey Kong. everything I saw in that was like, we are Donkey Kong fans. We love Donkey Kong. This is a love letter to everything Donkey Kong has ever been in one game. And then they did that with the music. They like pulled that off. They're like, we're bringing every single greatest song that Donkey Kong's ever had, which is almost all of them, and putting them into the game as well. And then I think there's a moment during I think it might be during the side-scrolling reveal, where you can tell, and they did exactly what I said I was hoping they would do, kind of. So I wanted the original, which I'm pretty sure the original's in there, the original, like, first stage Donkey Kong song. And then I think there's a remix in there as well that you hear during the side-scrolling reveal, if I remember correctly. It's somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the same song. They play the actual original, and then they go and they play the same song again, but it's slightly different. They did some kind of remix to it, a slight change, and it sounds good.
Well, one thing that I thought was interesting music-wise was that the song that Pauline sings at the end is she's providing lyrics to the song that Cranky Kong is like playing in the music box at the beginning of Donkey Kong Country on Super Nintendo. And I was like, did they fucking put lyrics to that song? That's crazy. Coming back, and so I'm gonna do that.